He who fears being despised is never truly respected. Have you ever noticed something strange? The people who are the hardest to control are usually the ones who say the least. They don't argue, they don't explain, they don't chase. And yet, people hesitate around them. But most people misunderstand this. They think being untouchable means being cold, distant, even manipulative. It doesn't. Being untouchable means one thing: no one can emotionally move you against your will. And once that happens, people lose leverage over you. Let me ask you something. Why do people get manipulated so easily? It's not because they're stupid. It's not because they're weak. It's because they're predictable. You insult them, they react. You ignore them, they chase. You pressure them, they fold. And the moment your reaction becomes predictable, you become controllable. That's the game. So what makes someone untouchable? Not strength, not status, not intelligence. Control over their own internal state. Because manipulation doesn't start outside, it starts inside you. Think about the last time someone triggered you. Maybe they said something disrespectful. Maybe they ignored you. Maybe they made you feel small. What happened next? You reacted, and in that moment, you gave them control. Here's the uncomfortable truth. People don't need to control you directly. They just need to trigger the right emotion. Fear, guilt, need for approval, fear of rejection. Once that emotion activates, you do the rest yourself. That's why the first rule of becoming untouchable is simple. Delay your reaction, not suppress it, not fake it. Just delay it. Because the moment you pause, you break the automatic loop. And that pause, it changes everything. Imagine this. Someone throws a subtle insult at you in a group. Most people react instantly. They laugh awkwardly. They defend themselves. They over-explain. But what happens if you don't? What happens if you just look at them? Silence. Now the tension doesn't belong to you. It belongs to them. And most people can't handle that. This is where psychological power begins. Not in what you say, but in what you refuse to react to. Second principle. Stop over-explaining. This one destroys more authority than anything else. Why do people over-explain? Because they're trying to control how they're perceived. They think, if I explain more, they'll understand me. If I justify myself, they'll respect me. But the opposite happens. Every extra sentence lowers your position. Because explanation signals uncertainty, and uncertainty invites pressure. Watch this in real life. Someone asks for something you don't want to do. Most people say, I can't because I'm really busy and I already have this and that, and stop. That's negotiation. That's giving leverage. An untouchable response. I'm not available for that. And silence. No justification. No emotional leakage. Here's why this works. Because power in social dynamics comes from one thing. Who needs the interaction more? If you need approval, you lose. If you need to be understood, you lose. If you need to win, you lose. Untouchable people don't need, they choose. Third principle, become comfortable being misunderstood. This one is brutal because most people are terrified of it. They want to be seen correctly. They want to be liked. They want clarity. And manipulators use this against you. They pretend to misunderstand you. They twist your words. They make you explain yourself again and again, and you fall into the trap. But here's the shift. If someone genuinely wants to understand you, they will ask. If they don't, no amount of explaining will fix it. So, untouchable people allow misunderstanding, not because they're careless, but because they refuse to chase validation. Fourth principle, control your availability. This is subtle, but powerful. The more available you are, the less you're valued. Not because people are bad, but because of human psychology. Scarcity creates importance. Availability creates familiarity. And familiarity reduces perceived value. Think about it. If you respond instantly every time, if you're always there, if you're always ready, people stop respecting your time. And once they stop respecting your time, they stop respecting you. Untouchable people understand this. They don't disappear. They don't play games. But they are selective. They respond on their terms, not out of pressure. Fifth principle, detach from emotional hooks. Every manipulation starts with a hook, a comment, a tone, a look, something designed to pull you in. And most people take it personally. They think, this is about me. But it's not. It's about control. When someone tries to provoke you, they're not testing your logic. They're testing your nervous system. Can you stay calm? Can you stay grounded? Can you not react? Because if you can't, they win without trying. So instead of reacting, observe. Instead of defending, analyze. Instead of engaging, choose. Sixth principle, use silence strategically. Silence is uncomfortable. That's why it's powerful. Most people rush to fill it. They talk more. They reveal more. They lose control. Untouchable people don't. They let silence do the work. In negotiations, silence creates pressure. In arguments, silence creates dominance. In conversations, silence creates mystery. And mystery creates respect. Seventh principle, set boundaries once, then enforce them. This is where most people fail. They set boundaries emotionally. They explain them. They repeat them. They beg for them to be respected. That's not a boundary. That's a request. A real boundary is simple, clear, calm, and followed by action. Don't speak to me like that. And if it happens again, you remove access. No drama, no speech, just consequence. Because people don't respect what you say. They respect what you enforce. Eighth principle, stop trying to control others. This might sound counterintuitive, but the more you try to control people, the more you expose your own insecurity. You argue, you push, you prove. And people feel it. Untouchable people don't control others. They control themselves, their tone, their reactions, their energy, and people adjust automatically. Because self-control is the highest form of control. Ninth principle: recognize patterns, not moments. Manipulation isn't random, it's repetitive. Guilt, pressure, withdrawal, flattery. Same patterns, different situations. Once you see the pattern, you can predict the move, and once you can predict it, you're no longer reacting, you're responding. That's the difference between being controlled and being untouchable. 10th principle: walk away without emotion. This is the final test. Can you leave calmly, not angrily, not dramatically, not to prove a point? Just leave, because walking away is the ultimate signal. I don't need this. And nothing breaks manipulation faster than that. Let's bring this together. Being untouchable isn't about power over others. It's about removing their power over you. It's about not reacting instantly, not explaining unnecessarily, not chasing validation, not fearing misunderstanding, not needing control. It's internal, silent, invisible. But once you have it, people feel it immediately. They hesitate, they adjust, they respect. And the most interesting part, you don't need to announce it. You don't need to prove it. You don't even need to show it, because real power is felt. If this way of thinking resonates with you, if you want to understand psychology, influence, and human behavior on a deeper level, subscribe, because this is just the beginning. And remember this: the moment you stop being emotionally predictable is the moment you become untouchable. But there's something even more uncomfortable about becoming untouchable. People will feel it before they understand it. They won't say, "You've changed." They'll just start acting differently. They'll choose their words more carefully. They'll hesitate before testing you. Some will even pull away. Why? Because you're no longer predictable, and unpredictability creates psychological distance. But here's where most people make a mistake. They think being untouchable means becoming distant from everyone, cold, closed, unavailable. No, that's not power, that's defense. Real untouchability is different. You can be open, you can be warm, you can be present, but you are never dependent. Let me explain. Most people don't connect from choice. They connect from need. Need for validation, need for attention, need to be liked, and need creates pressure. People feel it, even if you never say it out loud. Have you ever talked to someone who felt heavy, like they needed something from you? Approval, reassurance, attention. That's what dependence looks like. And the moment people feel that, your influence drops. Untouchable people don't remove emotion. They remove neediness. They enjoy connection, but they don't rely on it. And that changes everything. Now here's something deeper. Why do people tolerate disrespect? Not because they like it, not because they don't see it, but because they're afraid of the consequence of reacting. Think about it. If you speak up, you might lose approval. If you set a boundary, you might lose the relationship. If you walk away, you might be alone. So instead, you tolerate, you minimize, you rationalize. And every time you do that, your mind notices. You lose trust in yourself. Not instantly, but slowly, quietly. And that's the real damage, because confidence is not built from praise. It's built from self-trust, keeping your word to yourself, standing where you said you would stand. This leads to one of the most important shifts. Fear of rejection leads to fear of self-betrayal. Ask yourself this: what hurts more? Someone not liking you, or you not respecting yourself? Untouchable people choose the second. Every time. And that's why they appear stable, because they don't negotiate their own standards. Now let's talk about something most people ignore: energy leaks. Not physical energy. Psychological. Where do you lose power without realizing it? Overthinking conversations, replaying situations, imagining what others think of you. You're not even in the interaction anymore, and it's still controlling you. Untouchable people don't do this, not because they don't care, but because they understand something crucial. Attention is currency, and they don't spend it on things that don't return value. So when something ends, it ends. They don't mentally reopen it 20 times. They don't chase closure. They move forward. Another uncomfortable truth: most people reveal too much, too early. Their fears, their insecurities, their desires. Not because they're honest, but because they want connection fast. And that makes them readable, predictable, easy to influence. Untouchable people are not secretive, but they are selective. They reveal in layers. They observe first. They trust slowly, because information is leverage. And once it's out, you can't take it back. Now think about this. Why do some people always seem to have control in conversations? Not because they talk more, but because they react less. Every reaction you give is data. What triggers you? What matters to you? Where your limits are? And once someone has that map, they can navigate you. Untouchable people limit that data. They don't react to everything. They don't engage every comment. They don't correct every misunderstanding. They choose. And choice is power. Let's go even deeper. There's a concept most people never think about: emotional timing. It's not just what you feel, it's when you show it. Weak positioning, you react instantly. You show emotion in the moment. You let the situation dictate your response. Strong positioning, you feel it, but you choose when to express it, or if to express it at all. Because delayed emotion is controlled emotion, and controlled emotion is respected emotion. Now imagine this scenario. Someone disrespects you publicly. Everyone is watching. What do most people do? They react immediately. Defend, attack, explain. But what if you didn't? What if you stayed calm? said one sentence, or nothing at all, and addressed it later, privately, or with action. Now you've done something powerful. You've shown, I decide how this affects me, not them. That's untouchability. Another layer, detachment from outcomes. Most people enter interactions wanting something, to win, to be liked, to be right. And that attachment creates pressure. Untouchable people enter interactions differently. They don't need a specific outcome. They observe, they respond, they adapt. And because they're not attached, they're not controllable. Because control requires leverage, and leverage requires need. No need implies no leverage. Let's talk about respect. Most people think respect is earned by being nice, being helpful, being agreeable. That creates likability, not respect. Respect comes from consistency, boundaries, emotional control. It's not loud, it's not dramatic, it's felt over time. And here's the paradox. The more you try to be liked, the less you're respected. The more you respect yourself, the more others follow. Now imagine two people. One tries to fit in, adjusts constantly, agrees with everyone. The other stays consistent, doesn't chase, doesn't bend under pressure. Who feels stronger, even without saying a word? Exactly. Final layer. Walking away mentally before you walk away physically. Most people leave situations physically, but stay emotionally attached. They keep thinking, replaying, regretting. Untouchable people detach first. Internally, they let go, then they act. So when they walk away, it's clean, final, no residue. That's why it feels powerful, not because of the act, but because of the state behind it. Let's bring everything together. Being untouchable is not about isolation. It's not about ego. It's not about dominance. It's about self-control, emotional discipline, selective engagement, internal validation, and the ability to walk away without losing yourself. You don't become untouchable overnight. You become untouchable. One decision at a time. One moment where you don't react. One moment where you don't explain. One moment where you choose yourself. And slowly, people feel it. If you've made it this far, you already see the difference. Most people are reacting. A few are observing. Very few are choosing. Be one of them. Subscribe if you want to understand the game so deeply you never have to play it again.